Welcome back to another walkthrough. This walkthrough, we're going to go through Chapter 8, Grader Project, Income Model. Let's go ahead and get started. We'll download our materials. We'll go ahead and download and print up our instructions and go ahead and download the student file. Then click on your student file and hit Enable Editing. So in this particular assignment, we are going to create several different scenarios. But to do this, we are going to have to ensure that we have two add-ins installed. So let's go to our File tab. From our File tab, let's go all the way down to Options. And right here where it says Add-ins, click on Add-ins. And down here where it says Manage Excel Add-ins, hit Go. And make sure you put a check mark next to Analysis Toolpack and Solver Add-in. And then hit OK. And now we should be good to go. So let's click on the Projected Income Worksheet. And we want to change the value in cell B15 to 6. So let's come over here to B15 where it says 1. Go ahead and change that to a 6 and hit Enter. And notice how the sales change to 276,806. And then this changed to negative 4,015. We want to come up with some scenarios that will result in a break-even 6 months after opening. So let's go ahead. Very first thing is in cell B16. Let's change this from 10% to 11% and hit Enter. And then let's go up to our Data tab. And from our Data tab, let's come over here to our Analyze grouping and let's click on Solver. Once again, if you don't see Solver, we need to enable it like we just previously did in our options. Go ahead and click on Solver. And now we have our Solver parameters. So we're going to, in our Set Objective cell, let's make sure this says $B, $20. So let's change the 17 to 20. You could just type in B20 and hit the F4 key on your keyboard to make it an absolute cell reference, but we're just going to go ahead and type it in. And we want to select value of, make sure it says 0. And then we want to set the variable cell right here where it says, by changing variable cells, let's put our cursor there. Let's go ahead and type in $B, $16, comma, $B, $18. And remember those dollar signs before and after the B, make them absolute cell references. And once we're done there, go ahead and hit Solve. And if nothing happens, notice that I have my Excel file down here is glowing. Go ahead and click on it once, and that'll bring back up my Solver results. Now we want to save this scenario, so let's go ahead and click on the Save Scenario. And we want to change this to 11% growth. And hit OK. Now, very carefully, when you're back in this box here, you need to put a dot next to restore original values. And go ahead and put a check mark next to return to Solver parameters dialog. And hit OK. And that will go ahead and change our parameters back to where they were and allow us to go back into our Solver parameters to find another scenario. So now we want to do a constraint that requires percent growth in cell B16 to be equal to or less than 10%. So where it says subject to the constraints, let's go ahead and hit Add. And we want to type in B16 and we want it to be less than or equal to. So this is the less than or equal to. And the constraint is going to be 10%. So B16 less than or equal to 10%. And hit add and hit OK. Once you hit add, hit cancel. And now we have our percent growth and we have our constraint in there. Let's go ahead and hit solve. And we want to save this scenario, so hit save scenario, and we want to change it to 10% growth. And once you've typed in 10% growth, hit OK. Once again, we want to make sure we restore our original values. Make sure you have your check mark here to return to solver parameters dialog box. And hit OK. Alright, so now we want to delete this constraint. So let's go ahead and click on it and hit delete. And we want to add a new constraint. So this constraint, we want B18 to equal 85%. And once you have this, go ahead and hit OK. Notice that we have our new constraint. Let's go ahead and hit solve. And we want to save this scenario, so hit save scenario. And this is going to be 85% cost. Go ahead and hit OK. Once again, we want to restore our original values. We want to uncheck return to solver parameter box because we're done. And then go ahead and hit OK. So now with our projected income worksheet displayed, we want to create a scenario summary. So let's come up here to our forecast grouping and click on what if analysis and scenario manager. And we want to click on summary. And our scenario summary, go ahead and hit OK. And now we have a scenario summary worksheet. And here we can see that our current values of 11% with 87% cost related to sales, that we will not break even in 6 months. However, if we have 11% growth and we only have 86% cost related to sales, we would break even. Or if we had 10% growth and 86 cost related to sales, we would also break even. And then if we had 9% growth at 85% cost related to sales, we would also break even. So it just gives you a quick glance of what we would have to do as a business to break even within a certain amount of time frame. All right, so let's go ahead and go back to our projected income worksheet. And we want to change our value back into B15. Let's change it back to 1. And let's go ahead and click on cell B16 and change that back to 10% and hit enter. Now on the projected income worksheet, which we are already there, we want to create a line chart using the non-continuous ranges A2 to M3 and A8 to M8. So let's go ahead and highlight A2 all the way to M3. So A2 all the way down to M3. And then hold down the Control key and select A8 to M8. So once we've selected these two ranges, let's go to the Insert tab. And from the Insert tab, we want to go to our charts. Click on Line Charts. And we just want to create a line chart. And here it is. Here's our line chart. Notice that it has two different lines on it. This is our break-even, expected break-even chart. Let's go ahead and click on the chart title. Let's go ahead and click on the chart title again, put our cursor inside there, and let's make this the expected break-even point. Make sure you put a dash between break and even. And we want to position the chart so it's in the upper left corner. So the upper left corner here aligns in the corner of cell B22. So I'm just going to come up here as closely as I can on the line, click hold, and then I'm going to drag this to B22. So right about here. All right, so for step number 9, we've already ensured that the analysis tool pack is installed. So let's go to the sales worksheet. And from the sales worksheet, we want to create a moving average using the sales B2 to B49. So let's go ahead and come up here and let's highlight B2 all the way down to B49. Once we've highlighted B2 to B49, let's come over here to our Data tab. And under Analyze, let's click on Data Analysis. And make sure we select Moving Average. If you have to scroll down and find it in this list, find Moving Average, hit OK. So our input range is going to be B2 colon B49. Our interval is going to be 7. And our output range is going to be C3. And select labels in first row. And also make sure you put a check mark next to chart output. Check mark here, check mark there, hit OK. And now we have a moving average chart, and it put in our moving average in cell B3 all the way down, or C3 all the way down. Let's go ahead and move our sheet to a new worksheet. So let's go ahead and click on Moving Average and come up to our Chart Tools under the Design tab. From the Design tab, we're going to click on Move Chart. Put a dot next to New Chart and hit and change the name to Sales Trend Chart. And hit OK. And that'll move it to its own new chart. So now we want to select our sales trend chart worksheet, and we want to edit our horizontal category axis. So let's go ahead and come down here and click on our axis. And we want to come up here to our Data tab. We want to select Data. And we want to change the horizontal category axis. So let's click on Edit. Click back onto our sales worksheet and highlight A9 all the way down to A49. So when you look at this, it should say equals sales A9 to A49. Hit OK. And notice now here on our chart, we have dates instead of numbers. Go ahead and hit OK. But these are not this is not the formatting that we want. We want to change our formatting. So click on this horizontal axis, right click on the horizontal axis, and click on Format Axis. And here we want to go all the way down from our series options right here, come all the way down to our labels, come all the way down to our number. We want to do date, but we want to change our type. Let's go ahead and click the down arrow. And we want to do the 3/14 date format. So click on that. Notice how it changes the formatting for us. We also want to change this right here where it says data point. We want to change this to date. So go ahead and click on data point. And then go ahead and put your cursor in there by clicking on it again. Using your arrow keys, make sure you delete everything and put date at the bottom. So make sure that says date. Now let's go ahead and click on our vertical axis over here. Let's click on our vertical axis. It'll say Format Axis. We'll click on our axis options here. Click on our axis options there. We want to set our minimum to 3,500 and hit enter. Now we're done with this format access. We can go ahead and exit out of it. We want to put a custom footer with a file name in the left section. We'll come to our page layout tab. We'll click on this little dot right here for page setup, header footer, custom footer, and in the left section we'll put the file name and hit OK and OK. So now we want to, on step number 13, go to our schedules worksheet. So we're going to go ahead and click on our schedules worksheet. And we want to do some advanced formulas to calculate our number of shifts for each server, and also different formulas here. So we want to calculate the number of day shifts that each server is going to work. So this is going to be a Countifs function. So we'll go ahead and click on cell F3, and we'll click on our FX button. And then go ahead, and if you don't see it here, go ahead and type in Countifs and hit go. And there it is, Countifs. Click on it, hit OK. So our first criteria is going to be server. So just go ahead and type in capital S server. And notice when you type in server, because this is a named range, it comes up with our servers here on the side. So our criteria 1 is going to be E3, because we want it to pick whatever server is going to be in E3, or when we copy it down, E4, E5. So go ahead and put criteria E3. Our second criteria is going to be shift. So type in capital S-H-I-F-T. And notice when you type in shift, it's going to give us our shifts here, evening, day, evening, evening, because they named this range right here shift. And our criteria in quotation marks is going to be day. So criteria range 1 server, criteria E3, criteria range shift, criteria range 2 day in quotation marks, and hit OK. And if we did it properly, we should have 5. That means Alicia is working 5 day shifts. Well, we want to go ahead and copy this formula down. So let's click on our dot. Go ahead and click hold and drag that down. And it will copy that formula down for us. So now on step 14, we want to enter an AND function to determine which servers are scheduled for between 2 and 5 day shifts. So let's go ahead and click on I3 and come up here to our FX button. And let's go ahead and type in AND, A-N-D, and hit go. And we have our AND function, so let's go ahead and click on AND, hit OK. So our logical test is if F3, so type in F3, is greater than or equal to 2. Our second logical test is going to be F3 is less than or equal to 5. So what this is going to do is our logical test is it's going to count if F3 is greater than or equal to or less than or greater than and equal to 2, or if F3 is greater or less than or equal to 5. And we'll hit OK. And that is true. This Alicia is working between 2 and 5 shifts. And we can go ahead and copy this down. So let's take our little dot here. Let's hover over our autofill handle, click hold, and drag that all the way down. And notice that they're only working 1 shift, so that's false. They're not working between 2 and 5. Brian's working 3 shifts, so that's true. He's working between 2 and 5. So it just went ahead and gave us a quick AND function to find out who's working between 2 and 5 shifts. So now in J3, we want to do a Countifs function that will calculate the number of Monday shifts each server is working. And we want to do a second Countif function. We want to add them together to calculate the number of Tuesday shifts each one is working. So this is easy enough. We'll just go ahead and click on J3. We'll hit the FX button here. And we want to select our Countifs function again. Let's go ahead and click on Countifs and hit OK. So our range is going to be server. We'll type in server because that is our named range. Notice the servers pop up. Our criteria is going to be H3. So we'll type in H3 because we want it to be whatever server is going to be here under the servers. Our criteria range 2 is going to be day. And notice when we put in day, we have Sunday here. And our second criteria in quotation marks is going to be Monday, M-O-N, in close quotation marks. So M-O-N in quotation marks. And go ahead and hit OK. So it looks like Alicia is not working any Monday shifts. She has 0. But we also want to calculate whether or not she's working Tuesday shifts, or calculate how many. So let's come up here to let's make sure J3 is still selected. Come back up here to our formula bar. Click on our formula bar right after the parenthesis here and put the plus sign in. Go ahead and put the plus sign in. And then click on the FX button again. And click on Countifs again and hit OK. And we're going to put in this same Countifs function. We're going to do server. Under criteria 1, it's going to be H3 again. Criteria range 2 is going to be day. But this time the criteria 2 is in quotation marks. We want Tuesday, T-U-E, and close your quotation marks. So server H3 day and in quotation marks Tuesday, and hit OK. And now we have Alicia is working 1 Monday or Tuesday shift. And we can go ahead and copy this down. So hover over this dot right here, click hold and drag it down. And it will calculate, looks like Artie's not working any Monday, Tuesday shifts. Brian's working 4, Carol's working 4. So now it adds them all together for us. So now we want to import, or we want to do a if function with a nested and. So we're going to go ahead and type this one out. So let's go ahead and click on K3. And let's come up here to our formula bar. So we want to know if an employee is scheduled between 2 and 5 shifts, including a Monday or Tuesday shift. So let's start off with the equal sign. And we're going to do an if function. So let's type in IF, capital I, capital F. Let's go ahead and open parentheses, and let's type in capital A and then lowercase nd for and. And then let's open parentheses again and type in I3, comma, space, J3 greater than or equal to 1. Let's go ahead and close our parentheses, comma, space, and then type in eligible. Comma, space, go ahead and open quotation marks and close quotation marks. And then go ahead and close your parentheses. What a open quotation marks, close quotation marks means is that it will come up with a blank space, nothing there. And go ahead and hit enter. Oh, and it looks like I made a mistake on the formula. Go ahead and click back on the formula. Come back up here to our formula bar and put quotation marks around eligible. We want to put quotation marks around eligible. Now go ahead and hit enter. And that should put eligible here for us. Go ahead and click on this cell again and let's copy it down. And now it will put where it says eligible for someone who works between 2 and 5 shifts and a Monday or Tuesday shift. So we are now done. We want to make sure that we have our scenario summary, projected income, sales trend chart, sales, and schedule are in the right order. Let's go ahead and hit the save button. We'll go ahead and close out of it. We're ready to submit it. So we'll close out of our downloading starting materials. We will choose our file. This time we want to select the Chapter 8 file, hit Open, Upload, and Submit for grading. We'll go ahead and close our assignment and let's see how we did. We'll go ahead and scroll down to Chapter 8, click on the three dots, and hit View Submissions. And it looks like I got 100%. Once again, you can click on the assignment and double check your work. You can fix whatever mistakes you may have made and submit the grade for the best grade possible. Once again, if you need to contact me through Canvas, and have a wonderful day.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you found this video useful, please like and subscribe to the channel, as I'll be posting new walkthroughs and tech tips each week. Check back regularly for new content, and have a wonderful day.